let's talk about your first birth a little bit. So you decided to get a doula. At what point did you decide to do that? And did you know, like,
Yeah.
had you done research about doulas? Like, how did you know about doulas? Because I feel like that's not a super, obviously not very many people know.
Yeah, I had
them.
no clue. And I also feel like Anya was born in 2016. I feel like doulas were just kind of like coming around that time. I feel like it was kind of new for a lot of women. So I had no clue what doulas was. I had gotten like that typical book. I don't know what to expect when you're expecting. And I was like, okay, what do I do with all of this information?
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know what applies to me and what doesn't. So I actually went home when I was home to find a doctor there. I did a prenatal massage at like the local wellness center. And I was just, usually during massages, when I get a massage, like I don't like to talk. I just like to
relax. Yep.
But for whatever reason, like I could not stop talking to this lady that was giving me a massage. I'm like, I don't know what it was. I didn't want to tell her to be quiet. I didn't want to tell her like, hey, I just want to relax. I'm pregnant. I just want to, have some quiet and peace. I just kept talking to her, and we were just talking about pregnancy for literally the entire session. And then at the end of it, she's like, well, I'm a doula. And I was like, I don't even know what a doula is. And she's like, well, I'll give you some information about it.
Yeah.
So she sent me to her website, and I kind of just looked it through, and I was like, you know what? This kind of makes sense for me because we weren't at the time. This was in March. So Kyle actually had his whole injury in the summer, like 4 or 5 months later. So at the time, we weren't sure if he was going to be there. I felt comfortable. I was like, you know what? Maybe having somebody who's knowledgeable, who's been through this before. She was a mother of 2. She's been practicing being a doula for years. And, the whole notion of having somebody on your side that's advocating for you and not kind of like on the side of the hospital, just like kind of hit home.
Yeah.
I was like, this is my first pregnancy. I could potentially be doing this by myself without Kyle there.
Yeah.
I was like, if my mom's there, which she was, she's going to be in a completely different state of mind,
Yeah.
She's gonna be like,
it's her baby. Yes.
Yeah, she's going to be comforting me. But, having Donna the doula, that's her name, Donna the doula, she's like, I'm there on your behalf. The things that you need, the things that the doctors might not see, how you're progressing in your pregnancy and during your delivery and your birth. She's like, I'm really there. It doesn't matter if you're planning to go unmedicated. It doesn't matter if you're planning to give birth at home, or even if you're in the hospital.
Yeah.
So I actually talked to Kyle, had a conversation. I was like, you know what? I really feel like we should do this. He couldn't grasp the idea at the time. Like, why do you need somebody else in the room with you?
Yeah.
But I'm like, but it's all about the planning and the preparation, which I go back and I said this before. She helped with, stretching, yoga, reflexology, meditation, even like dietitian needs.
Yeah.
She, after appointments, she was like a great resource to talk to about what the doctor said and how we can plan and prepare for the birth, how the baby's progressing, what position the baby was in.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and I think just because of the appointment that I had with the massage, like I already felt comfortable with her. I always felt like there was a reason why I was on her table that day, at that period of time. And I was like, I had to trust the process. I had to trust what the information was giving me. So at that point, I was like, you know what, let's hire Donna. And that was in March. I went back to Russia from, I think, March to June, to the end of the season. And then I worked with her,
So you stayed after you went back in March. You didn't go back.
No, I went back to Russia.
You did. Okay.
Yes. I went home, did my doctor's appointments, and then I went back to Russia to kind of finish off my pregnancy.
Okay.
Well, that part of my pregnancy for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
And then I went back home for the summer, and then I worked with Donna throughout the entire summer, planning and, stretching, the reflexology, everything like that. But I was never in the position to really think about having an unmedicated birth. Yeah. I didn't even think about that. that wasn't even in the back of my mind. Nobody had ever talked to me about it. I didn't have any friends that had gone through it.
Yeah.
My mother herself, she didn't go through it. So I think like I was just planning, like, I'm going to get an epidural. It's fine. I was like, we can
Yeah.
work on that. And Donna was very supportive of that too. She was like, whatever your decision is, like, I'm going
Yeah.
to ride with you for that.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. No, I love that. I think that's super important because I do think that there are some doulas that will make people feel a little bit like guilty about choosing to
yeah.
go that route, which I think
Mhm.
is sad because I don't think like everyone needs support. It doesn't matter how you're choosing to give birth. And at the
Right.
end of the day, it's like obviously the decision of the mom, what they want to do,
Right.
what works best for their body.
Right.
Um, but you also, I think people forget, like, even if you get an epidural, like you still need so much support in labor,
Yes,
and with
you do.
pushing, like sometimes it's almost not more important, but like it's just as important because
Yeah.
you get an epidural, you're not able to move around. You need someone to help you move and change positions still and
Mhm.
make sure that you're still progressing, even though you're like not,
Mhm.
using gravity to help you. And then
Mhm.
the pushing part, like being able to push with
Yeah.
strength and stuff, not being able to
You didn't
feel
know
as
where to
much.
push.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think it's really like obviously I think doulas are amazing for everything, but I do think people forget like even if you're going to go the epidural route, it's still like so important to have that support.
Yes. Yeah.
Uh,
Because I think there's so much that you can do even prior to when you go into labor,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
that a
yeah.
doula definitely helps you with.